Calimera from the neighborhood of Thiseio. This neighborhood is on the other side of the Acropolis Museum and the Hill. It's a very small neighborhood, but one of the older neighborhoods here in Athens. And so today I'm going to walk around and show you some of Thiseio. It may be in two parts. I may need to come back later and show you some more because I have to go to my Greek lesson later. This is one of my favorite things in Thiseio is the Cine Theion. It is a really great summer cinema. It's outside, and if you sit far enough in the back, you can see the Acropolis. And it's really nice at night, obviously, because it's all lit up. Unfortunately, it is closed for the season. It is only open in the summer. They usually open in May and usually stay open through like the end of September. So if you're coming in the summer and you want something kind of different to do, I highly recommend coming here. A lot of times they show older movies, not new releases. Sometimes they do, but it's mostly older movies. So there's a couple of things about this street. First of all, it's mostly pedestrian only. You'll see a few cars, but it's mostly people who live in this neighborhood. And it goes all the way to Makriani and the Acropolis Museum and the Acropolis Museum, the Acropolis entrance on the south side. But as you can see, there's a great view from this side as well. And there's also a view of the Hill. So that's Kolonaki, if you're not familiar. And if you want to watch the sunset from somewhere, that's also a good spot here in Athens to watch the sunset from. See all of these restaurants here, and these are pretty full most of the days. It's pretty early by Athens standards. It's not even 11:30 in the morning yet, so it's not quite busy yet. Most of the people I'm seeing are tourists at this point. It is a Saturday, so I am actually going to have brunch this morning here in Thiseio. There's a place that I've been wanting to go to, so that's where we're going to go for breakfast brunch this morning. There are a few hotels over here. I imagine they're pretty small, so if that's something you want to consider, I would book early, but it gives you a fantastic view, obviously. So this is where I'm going. It's called the Underdog. I thought they would have outdoor seating, but they don't. But they have a brunch menu, and it's in this, probably what used to be a house at one point. So this should be interesting. We have a big selection of eggs, yogurt, pancakes, and obviously coffee and things. I really like this place already. Although I will say it feels very American. And if it was not breakfast, I would be trying these. It's goat cheese fries. It has 2 fried eggs with French fries, goat cheese, and mushrooms. You know, I don't know. I can't decide what I'm having. I don't know if I can handle that for breakfast, but it sounds spectacular. So things are taking a little bit longer for whatever reason. So they brought me a little complimentary like cereal bar, and he says it's lemon. So it looks really good. We'll see how it is. I will say that if you want to come here on the weekend, you probably need a reservation because most of the tables were reserved. There is an outside, but all those tables were also reserved. I went for something simple, fried eggs, and it came with sausage and bacon. Now, I don't usually like the Greek bacon, but I'm going to try it. And that thing they brought me, that little granola bar, is really good, but very sweet, and the coffee is outstanding. So, do recommend it for coffee. Now, we'll go explore the rest of Thiseio. And I have never walked down this street where the Underdog is, and it's really cute. So I'm gonna walk down here. There is a museum. Don't know if I'll go inside though, because you know they don't let me film or anything. So, but I did look it up online. So I'll show you what it is. It looks interesting. So it's called the Heraclitan Science, Art, and Math Museum. Looks pretty small though. And I think it's not a public museum, it's a private one. So yeah, that would be something interesting to do if you're staying in the area. Yes, it's pretty small. It's just in this old house. Look how green this street is. How amazing. And a lot of the older houses are still intact over here. And there's like a rail track on the ground, and it looks similar to the ones that are over by the Acropolis. And I don't know the story behind it, so I don't know, why it exists. I'm sure one of you will know. So I really like this little street. What a nice little street to get to live on, and it's quiet because there's not cars. Now that it's fall, you're seeing lots of works on the roads. I think they've been improving the internet connections in a lot of the neighborhood. I don't know if this is what's happening here, but in my neighborhood, they keep ripping the street out and replacing it, and it's for various different reasons. But I know one of them is improving the fiber connection, so that's good for me. Well, I just found the sign, and it has something to do with the electric, so not fiber. I really like this street. Every time I go to a new neighborhood, I'm like, oh, maybe I should move here. I could constantly be moving to experience new neighborhoods here because they all are so unique and have all these different things that are really cool. So, maybe one day. Right now, I'm staying where I am. There's this really cool plant and jewelry store. It looks like they're on vacation, though, according to the sign. But some nice looking plants. I would like to come back. Shame they're not open. But look at this lovely little area right in front. This is what this whole block is. It's like all of the apartment buildings are back from the street, and then there's all these like restaurants with garden area. It doesn't feel like Athens. I mean, the architecture and things feels like Athens, but the street doesn't feel like Athens. I like it. Not because it doesn't feel like Athens, but because it's so green and quiet. And of course, because it's Athens, there's a ruin over here. It's part of the wall and the streets. I was reading this sign, and it says that some of the wall on the streets and the gates have been found underneath the modern buildings, so that's interesting. I'm hoping that they kept them, that they're visible, but they're obviously in private buildings, so you can't go in and see them. But what's nice here is you can actually go down. A lot of these are just like exposed, but you can't go down into them. So I always think about these giant pieces of bricks, essentially concrete. I don't think they're concrete, but these are just massive, and they must weigh so much. And the fact that they moved hundreds of them to make a wall around ancient Athens is wild to me. I mean, look at this. According to the sign, it was first excavated in 1907, so it's been open for over 100 years now. I have some neighborhood beauties here hanging out on this car. This is Heraklion Street. That's what I've been walking down. That's where the Underdog is, and it starts over by that pedestrian street. And now I'm going to turn left because this is kind of the end. There's like one more block, but then it's a highway. So I'm going to turn left, I think, and then go up that street. There is a church here that I want to go see, but I think it's back over towards the Acropolis. I didn't think of it much on the other street because it was sort of built for pedestrians, but look, actual wide sidewalks over here, and no one's parked on the sidewalk. Maybe I should move. That's always a nice surprise here in Athens because usually people are parked on the sidewalks, so there are trees and they're super narrow, so this is a nice treat. All right, we are now at Nelios Street. There's a gas station, which you don't often see in Athens proper. That's interesting. Now, what I haven't seen so far is a supermarket. And that's always an interesting thing to try to find in these old historic areas of Athens, is the supermarket. I found the supermarket. It's a market inn, and it's quite big, actually. So it's on this street that I'm on. So in case you're staying over here and you need the supermarket, here you go. And it also looks like across the street on the corner is fruit and vegetable place. Yes. So those are always good because sometimes they're cheaper than the supermarket and usually the quality is better. And here is in Alphavita Shop and Go. So another supermarket. They're usually much smaller, but they usually have good stuff though. Like the one near my house, I can do a lot of my shopping in the Shop and Go. We're back over kind of where we started. Before I go to the church, I'm going to show you the rest of this pedestrian part of Thiseio. Down past the restaurants, there are all these street vendors, and they're here every day. A lot of it is jewelry, bags, paintings. Some of it is handmade. Some of it is not. But, you know, if you want a different souvenir or maybe want to support someone who's making their jewelry locally, this is a good place to come. There are kind of park areas on both sides of this walkway. Now, you may be hearing these birds, who, of course, as I approach, they get quieter. You may not be able to see them because they blend in quite well. There's one over there in that tree. They are parrots. They are green parrots. And I think the story is that at some point, somebody let their pet parrots go and they've just multiplied. And they're everywhere. They're in the National Gardens. I see them over in the Os Cosmos. So that's the weird bird sound that you're hearing. But sometimes you can spot them, but in the trees that are super green, you can't. I'm always shocked that they survive the winter here because even though we don't get that cold, it does sometimes get down below freezing and sometimes we have snow. So they're pretty hardy parrots, I would say. There is a metro station here. It is the original. Greeks will tell you, or Athenians will tell you, it's the electric train. So this one goes all the way to Piraeus and then all the way up to Kiphasia. And if you've been to Athens and you've walked through the Agora, this is the one that runs through the Agora. And here it comes now. So if you look on the map of the metro, this is the green line, or the number 1, depending on how you look at it. And most of the train cars on this line are covered in graffiti, which I know a lot of people don't like, but actually when you see the train cars together, it looks pretty cool. The church is up this street, so if you're trying to find it, it's next to the Hotel Thiseio. I can't find the name of the street, so that's why I'm giving you this reference of where this church is. It's called Agia Marina. I've just seen the sign for the street. It's Agia Marina Street. That's easy. Isn't it beautiful? It's quite large as well. I don't know if I'll be able to go inside because I don't know if the doors will be open, but it's beautiful. Unfortunately, the doors are not open, which I kind of had a feeling that that would be the case. I think this would be a spectacular place to come for Greek Easter because they have this massive courtyard area I'll show you. So I imagine there's quite the crowd here for Orthodox Easter because it's such a nice big area and the church looks very large. Unfortunately, I don't think I'll be back here tomorrow for Sunday, but if you come by, come up and see if it's open, or at least come look at the beautiful outside. And because Monday is Ohi Day, which is a holiday here, everybody has their big fabulous Greek flags out. I may not be able to go inside, but I can show you the entryway here. It's lovely ceiling and mosaic, and the paintings in the archway. And then there's more on the floor. The other thing about this square is all the houses around it have amazing architecture. And they're all different various styles as well. Coming back down the street, you get a great view of the Parthenon and the gate and all the people going in. It's spectacular. Really great view. Very clear day today too. It's really nice. Hello again. I am on my way back over sort of to the Thiseio area, not officially, but it's in the hill, Philippapu Hill above it, and I wanted to mention these things that you can see over near there. I'm still on my side of the hill, but it's a really nice day, especially to go for a walk. There's a nice breeze. So I'm already up on the hill, if you couldn't tell, so we'll walk there and then I'll talk about the two things. This is the first spot. This is the Sphinx Hill, and this is basically the founding place of democracy. It's where the original Greek, well, the Athenian parliament met for a very long time. And according to the sign, at one point, the area could seat 5,000 people, and then later 6,000 people. And this is actually an ancient wall. I'll get closer because I can see that the sun is in the video. Here it is. It's another one of these amazing walls. You can see these large holes that I'm assuming were somehow made so that they could lift them. May not be showing up in the video because it's dark here in the shade. As you can see, there's a great view. You can see the Acropolis Hill, you can see Lycabettus Hill, and I can never remember the name of that other hill. But as you can imagine, this would have none of these buildings. There would be buildings, but it wouldn't be these modern ones, obviously. So it would be a very different looking landscape sitting up here. And it offered a great spot because everyone could hear because of the natural acoustics and, you know, a central meeting spot, essentially. According to the sign, this is where people would stand to speak and, you know, have their ideas listened to. Really kind of an amazing thing that it's still here and still exists and that we know what it is. And even though I've been up to Philippapu Hill many, many times, I've never come to this part. So it's a good thing for me too to make this video so that I can see these things, because sometimes when you live in a tourist place, you tend to not do some of the touristy things. The one last thing I wanted to show you up here that I can't go into because it's not open during the day is this National Observatory of Athens. So obviously it's a place to look at the stars, but there's also like a museum. Now, I have read reviews online saying that it's very difficult to get in because they say they're open, but they're not. So I recommend that if it's something that you really want to do, then you contact them either when you're here by phone or email and see if you can't make an appointment in advance, because it's a little bit tricky. But that is technically in Thiseio, and the church that I took you to is just down the hill from there. There's also this other observatory, but I don't believe this is ever open to the public. I don't even know if it's functional anymore, but it is a good spot to come and see the view up here on the hill. I hope you all enjoyed my tour of Thiseio and a few of the things that you can see above Thiseio. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.